Hi everyone, welcome to Online Piano Learning. My name is Sarah and today we're talking about major scales. Before we talk about major scales, let's talk about what a scale is. A scale is a series of notes. The notes are generally in stepwise motion, although there are some exceptions. Here are some other examples of scales that you will learn about while you're studying music. Aside from major scales, we have minor scales, we have different modes like the Dorian mode, the Locrian mode, we have blues scales, whole tone scales, pentatonic scales, octatonic scales, and many others. In order to learn how to build those scales, we usually reference the major scale. So let's get started with the major scale. In order to build major scales, we are going to use a formula using whole steps and half steps. If you don't know about whole steps and half steps, also known as whole tones and semitones, go ahead and watch the video that I posted earlier. I will leave a link in the description just in case you're interested in going back and reviewing it. Before we get to the major scales, I want to do a quick review of half steps and whole steps. Half steps don't have any notes in between them at the piano, and when you play whole steps, there is one note in between. For example, C to C sharp is a half step, C to D is a whole step. So let's take a look at our formula for major scales. The formula is whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. As you can tell, the first half is the same as the second half. These are called tetrachords. They are 4 notes, and the steps in between are whole step, half step. And when we put 2 tetrachords beside each other with a whole step in between, that's how we build our major scales. The easiest scale to visualize and to see at the piano is C major because it doesn't have any sharps or flats and it follows this pattern perfectly. So let's take a look. All the white keys at the piano have black keys in between them except for E and F and B to C. As you can see in our formula, there's a half step between the 3rd and 4th note and the 7th and 8th note of the major scale. In C major, these notes are E to F and B to C, which makes them so easy to check for this pattern. Since all the other steps are whole steps, we can definitely confirm that C major follows this pattern. Let's take a look at a scale that uses sharps and will require a little bit more effort to build. Our first example will be E major. In order to build this, we're going to use the piano, letter names, as well as the staff. Just like C major, E major also spans an octave. So we are going to write E all the way to the next E on the staff. We're also going to write that with letter names, so E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. Now we're going to take a look at the steps in the E major scale and see if these notes match up with our formula. The first 2 notes are E and F. If you remember from the previous scale, E and F is one of those white key half steps, and we want a whole step for the first step. So what we have to do is raise the F to make it a whole step above E. In order to do that, we have to make it an F sharp. Now let's do the same thing, but starting on F sharp for the second whole step. So F sharp to G, again, is a half step, so we have to change that by making the G a G sharp. If you're writing on your staff, make sure that the sharp goes before the note, and if you're writing letters, make sure that the sharp goes after the letter. So the next one is G sharp to A, and that one, as you can see, is a half step, but that's okay because in between the 3rd and 4th note, we want a half step. A to B is another whole step, which we need. B to C is a half step, but we're looking for another whole step. So we have to raise the C to become a C sharp. And the next one is C sharp to D. Because we don't want C sharp to D to be a half step, we have to raise the D and it will become a D sharp. So C sharp to D sharp. The last one is D sharp and E. Because we need a half step and this is already a half step, we don't have to change anything. There you go, we found E major. As long as you follow this pattern with the whole steps and half steps, then you will easily find any major scale. Now let's go ahead and look at the B flat major scale. So that's a scale that uses flats. And this time, let's use the bass clef. We're going to do the same thing that we did in the previous scale. So we're going to start with a B flat and we're going to write all the notes up to the next B flat. And now let's do the same thing with the letters. Alright, so now it's time to refer back to our formula for major scales, which starts with a whole step. So B flat to C. Because there is a B natural in between, this is already a whole step, so we move on. C to D is good. D to E is not good because it's a half step, and we don't have a half step. So let's take a look at how to make this a half step. To make D to E a half step, we have to lower the top note. So E becomes E flat. The next one is E flat to F. So that's already a whole step, so we don't do anything there. F to G is fine. G to A is fine. And the last one, A to B flat, that is a half step, which is what we need, so we don't change anything. Alright, well there is a scale, a major scale that uses flats. There are some faster ways for building major scales and figuring out which sharps and flats are in each scale. One of those ways is using the circle of fifths. I will leave that in the description bar, so you can go ahead and check that out after the video if you're interested. And I will also have a shortcut video, which is basically everything you learn in the circle of fifths, but a faster way to figure it out. Even though those are faster, this is very crucial to understanding how a major scale is built. Understanding where the half steps and whole steps are in the scale will help you identify that. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos just like this. And again, if you have other topics you would like me to cover, feel free to write them in the comments and any other questions that you have about this topic. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.